to another edition of Thunderdome. Oh, sorry, just kidding. Well, folks, this is going to be another video on how to do reloading. This time, instead of doing 7.62 by 54R, I'm going to do 8mm Mauser. If you remember when I did that 4-part series on the Russian 7.62 by 54R bullet, you'll remember I used one of those hand reload kits, one of the small kits. You can essentially use the kit and nothing else if you wanted to reload it. Unfortunately, you don't have that choice with Lee loader equipment for the 8mm Mauser. You have to buy basically a traditional die kit or die set and an actual press. So we're going to be using different equipment this time, and I'm going to run through that real quick and some of the other materials that you may or may not remember from the last time I did the video. So without further ado, let's get started. First of all, as you can see here, we have the Lee press. This is a very cheap, inexpensive press. I think it was maybe $20, $30 max. And it's the simplest entry-level press you can get that uses a full-length paysetter die or one of the standard die kits that you can get from Lee. So that's the next thing I'm going to show you here. This is the 8mm Mauser, or 8x57 Mauser as they call it. And this is, I believe this is a paysetter kit, or a paysetter die, which means it comes with the full-length resizer and decapper or deprimer cap pin inside it. It comes with the this thing here, this part of the press that you use to seat the bullet. And this also comes with a crimp, which I think is specific to the Paysetter series. I don't ever use this though. It's not necessary. You can, and you know what, I found with certain bullets like the 7.62 by 54R, you ought to use a crimp, but you don't have to, at least I don't, for this set. And it comes with the dipper, and thankfully it comes with the case or shell holder, which you are going to need for this press here. But more on that in a minute. Now, next thing you do is you're going to have, or I find it's better to have the auto prime, and you saw this before. It's this little thing here you use to squeeze and press in the primers. If you get that, you're going to have to get one of these shell holder kits, and this one uses the size 2. I think that's the one here. This one here, the number 2, that's specific to the 8mm Mauser, so we'll be using that in a little bit. Of course, you got to have ammo, and I got plenty of it here. We're going to do 4 boxes of almost 20 each of the spent ammo that I've used at the ranges. I think this one here might have actually been the one I used for the Yugoslavian Mauser, which is definitely this one here. Even though I don't normally try to do this, I'm going to mix these anyway because, just so you know, this isn't a neck resizing only press. This is a full-length resizing die that we use here. And since that's going to be the case, you know, mixing brass really isn't going to be an issue, or I find it's not really an issue. So, anyway. Of course, you need your case lube, and I like to use this spray Dillon case lube here. You need your bullets, of course. This is going to be 8mm 175 grain Spitzer from Sierra. Very cheap and inexpensive. This is the powder I'm using now, H4895, which is pretty good, generic, you know, standard kind of powder. One I could even use for 30-06 for the Grand if I want to, which is why I got it. There's a lot of it there. And of course, you got to have your caliper set, which you've seen before. Got to have your book, your manual, so that you can get the loads right. Although I find that the instructions on this one here are pretty thorough, but I still prefer to have the manual. And then lastly, or almost lastly, here's this new set of tools that I heard some of you guys mention during my last series that I didn't include things about cleaning the pocket, the primers with the right kind of tools. This is the primer cleaner tool. Let me see if I can focus. There you go. This is the primer pocket cleaner, and you have one side for the smaller pistol cartridges, and then you have the larger one here for the larger rifle primer pockets to clean out, and I'll show you how to use that in a minute. As you start doing more and more reloads, you're going to find that your case is going to start stretching. A lot of times mine pretty much break before you get to the point where you have to trim it, but just in case, I have this, I think it's basically a length gauge kit, and it's kind of a 2 or 3 piece set. It's very inexpensive. It's maybe like $6, $7, I think, if that. And it allows you to use this and this in conjunction with this and this cutter tool here. Allows you to stick it into the brass case, check the length, and if it's too long, you can use this to trim the case down. This is a chucker, so you can use a power drill if you want to. And this is the holder for that. And again, this is a size number 2, which is what you're supposed to use for this 8mm Mauser. And then finally, we have this chamfer, which is basically something you stick into the top of the brass case to clean out any loose burrs when you have to use the trimmer. But like I said, I find that these are almost highly unnecessary tools to use. I think there's only one case I've trimmed yet out of maybe 200 or 300 I've gone through. And like I said, usually the brass breaks by the time it gets long enough to have to actually use this. But anyhow, I think that's it for now. Oh, one last thing. Got to have this thing again, because we are going to have to spray down the lube on a lot of these bullets when we start sizing it. So this is something I made. You saw it in the last video. I'm not going to go over it really that much, but just wanted to make sure I mentioned it.